This is how we do it.
You know I'm starting the pod with that.
Hell yeah.
Hi, welcome to Worlds Collide.
We're here.
We are still here. In fact,
We're here.
we are still here.
We're here. Three of us. The three of us are here.
The unnamed boy. I actually sent out a poll this morning to our family.
What was
that? We're still between two names and we haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Even though all signs are pointing to one of the names.
They are.
So
I wonder what the fam said. Fam bam. And how many votes were you taking?
I accidentally made the poll anonymous. I didn't mean to.
Q.
Yeah. So
we can start dropping Q.
but yeah, Jack's in the lead.
Okay. We should start. Is 4chan still up?
I believe so.
Okay, maybe we can start like a message board on it and just see who comes in.
We'll see. But so far, Jack's in the lead. I think this kid's going to be named Jack.
Aye.
It's hard, you know. It's sort of like the implication. I mean, obviously, our children are hopefully never going to go back and watch these episodes. But the implication is that when you have one child and you name that child the name that you named them,
That's the one you love the most.
that's the name you liked, which
Yeah.
is why you named your child that.
Yeah.
So right now we're talking about naming our second son the runner-up name that we were going to give to our first son. So the implication is that it's not as beloved of a name.
Not as beloved. Duh.
Oh, and then the other thing was, sorry, I didn't tell you this. Yesterday we were out and we saw a mother and son, and the son had like beautiful, luscious hair and had never been cut. And the mom was like, I just can't. And we also haven't cut our
Yeah.
son's hair yet. So like,
I know, but in turn, I swear not to be pointing fingers, but he showed up at church looking like Gary Busey.
he looked
Okay.
wild.
He looked straight Gary Busey.
He looked absolutely wild. He definitely needs a haircut. And there was
Yeah.
like all these signs pointing to like it's time to cut his hair. But the big one was the mom who had this beautiful, luscious haired boy that everybody kept coming up to me and being like, is she yours? I was
She.
like, he's hers.
Speaking of, he made shout out to the wedding couple, the beautiful wedding couple. Congratulations.
Yeah. We had such a nice time at the wedding. It was fun.
Yeah. Shout out Marks. Shout out Dr.
Although everybody was
Mark.
very sober on our side of it.
Diana. We love you guys. Yeah.
Our table was super
Radically sober.
Yeah, uncomfortably sober.
We were radically sober. I thought it was funny during church is that you guys had to go to the cry room, which they took the doors off like a teenager. They were like, we're taking your door off. There's no more doors on the Catholic church.
Sort of like doesn't exactly contain the cry aspect of the cry room.
Yeah, but if anybody's going to Catholic church,
So also my apologies to the wedded couple that had to hear that forever in their wedding video is going to hear my son growling in the back. Or even worse, at one point before I realized we were right next to the camera, they're just going to hear him munching. Just like straight just the whole time. So anyway, we took him to the cry room and then we found out that the Catholic Church is no longer building cry rooms.
Okay, bring the children to me, I think Jesus said.
Yeah. They want the children as more part of the
Yeah.
community. But I was like, but that means they're going to growl.
Also, it didn't work out so well for the Catholic Church bringing the kids in, you know? I mean, it should
Yeah.
probably build more doors.
So anybody who's not a Catholic, the cry room is a glass paned room.
Yeah.
So that you can see church and they can see you.
Like a fishbowl.
Yeah. And the idea is that you can contain your child in that room.
We
with
sat in the
snacks and
cry
toys.
room for your high school graduation, which was in a church.
Yeah, because you guys were super late.
Okay, maybe. At least we made it. We've been late to other graduations and then just told them we were there and missed all of it.
Yeah, that was a classic.
So at least we saw you.
Yeah. That's a classic. To be like, you looked great. And we got there at the very end. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So this week,
It's been an exciting week. Can I tell you, somebody showed me on their phone a picture of a DARPA dog. Do you know what a DARPA dog is?
I do not.
Okay. Well, you know what DARPA is.
I am familiar.
Who doesn't, right?
Yes.
And for our listeners, if you don't, it's the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which is just, one of the agencies that you pay for.
Sure.
With your taxes.
Yeah, just a little secret agency.
Okay. And they're making dogs. Okay. They're making straight dogs. They have them dog fight. They have really the biggest thing was I think they had one called Big Dog out of MIT. And the idea was they wanted to put all the provisions of the, what do you call it when the soldiers go out into
Sure,
the battlefield?
yeah, I'll say provisions.
Okay. But they don't have to carry them themselves. They pack the dog with them. But the dog is like 3 feet tall. So it's the scariest dog you've ever seen.
Yeah, you know what? I think I saw a video. Lex Friedman shared it like a year or two ago. I think I saw it. That MIT was showing one of those dogs sniffing around.
Is Lex what is that, controlled opposition? What is Lex Friedman really? Do we believe him? Do we not believe him? I feel like he was making rounds. Everybody's like, this guy. And I'm like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, I don't know that I trust him as far as I can throw him, but that's probably just because he lacks a human aspect to him. He's got that engineer spirit.
Yeah, maybe because he's a little bit of a robot.
Yeah. I was gonna say, people who like desire science above all else, like, you know what I'm saying, like people who are like, I can't wait to just create and never stop to be like, is this a good idea?
Yeah, until the AI turns around and looks at you and goes, you're dumb.
I mean, like, I think we've all watched enough movies to know that this isn't gonna end well for us.
For sure. But then also I watched your son turn on mom's Roomba like it's his best friend.
Yeah, he does love the Roomba.
You know?
Yeah.
And at what point that we're yelling at the Roomba and we're yelling at do they yell back at us?
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Roomba's coming back for us for sure.
I think so
We've
too.
been nothing but disrespectful.
Could you imagine,
to the Roomba.
when like a spider crawls on you while you're sleeping, if a Roomba just crawls up onto you, comes up into your face at night?
You hear it from like 40 feet away. Those things are so loud.
I know. You know what I was thinking though too? I had read the other day that Epcot Center, that Future Tomorrow ride or whatever, where you go through and they show you like the cavemen and the futuristic stuff.
Yeah.
The part of that is like some MK Ultra programming for the brain.
Oh.
But then it made me wonder, I was like, was Back to the Future also part of that plan to like predictive program us?
Get used to time travel? Wait, we're getting time travel, you think?
Not just time travel. I was thinking more like Biff, when he's like on the big screen TV or whatever, when they were on the equivalent of like a FaceTime and
like
stuff.
what the future was going to look
Yeah.
like. Got it. Sorry, I got hyped about time travel for a second there.
I like to think time travel is real.
I do too.
That's a whole other pod.
I know.
It's a whole other
We'll do a
pod.
time travel pod. No, but there's a bunch of that stuff. So like obviously, greatest movie of all time, Terminator 2.
Yeah, but that's scary.
Yeah.
When he like rips his arms off and becomes transabled.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the greatest movies of all time. I've been watching it since I was a kid. I've been worried about Skynet since I was a kid. And here comes Skynet.
Oh, they literally called it Skynet too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why do we pay for the programs? Do you know?
It would be nice if our dollars were spent towards things we believed in.
I know, but we pay for the program that I didn't ask for.
DARPA dogs?
DARPA dogs I didn't ask for.
You were like, we need to stuff the provisions onto a 3-foot dog and send it out into the desert.
So I never really knew what they were. I saw it. I was very scared. So I tried to go down the rabbit hole. And then I learned about this. There's a lot of weapons that they develop through these programs with our taxpayer dollars. And they're called like non-lethal, similar to gay bomb.
Oh, nice.
Remember when you told us about gay bomb?
Yeah. The idea is that you want to you just want to like squirrely up the opposition. You're not trying to hurt them.
That's
You're
it.
just trying to confuse them a little.
Confuse them.
Yeah.
Right. So they have one called the Voice of God. And I'm like, having lived in downtown Santa Monica for a while, I'm pretty sure that's what they're beaming on all the homeless people.
Oh.
Because have you ever gotten into a conversation with one of them?
Yeah. That one guy who used to say that Condoleezza Rice put an IUD in his brain.
Yes, which I didn't know IUDs could go in the brain. I think we've been using them
But
wrong.
I wouldn't put it past Condoleezza Rice.
Condi's wild.
I wouldn't put it past the Bush administration.
I was thinking that. So yeah, there's apparently that they developed it. The guy was named Dr. Robert Duncan, and he was out of Harvard and MIT, and then it eventually became a CIA engineer. And he gave a talk on it, and it was like, I messed up.
On the Voice of God thing?
On the Voice of God thing. Yeah.
And what exactly is that? It just literally is what it sounds like. They just beams down as like, listen to me.
Yeah. So it beams directly to the person's brain where they think God is directly talking to them. I know, but it didn't start off like that. Okay.
You just schizophrenic people?
Yes.
No.
But it started off as the face of Allah. So before Voice of God, it's also called Voice of Allah, but they also have one called Face of Allah, where they will holographically show you what God looks like.
No. You're not allowed to do that.
That's what I thought.
Not allowed to do that.
That's what I thought.
People get in a lot of trouble scribbling up pictures of Allah.
So I was like, what? That seems so wrong. But they have Allah up here. And the idea was, I think they tried it in like Fallujah or something, where they were like, we're going to beam on these and see what happens.
And was it successful, or were they just like, we can't really talk about it?
Yeah, I think they're not allowed to talk about it. But this is some heavy stuff that comes out of MIT and Harvard.
Dude, if a Voice of God came to my brain right now, I would be so gassed on myself.
I would too, and I imagine
I'd be like, guess what, guys?
I think most schizophrenics, that's where they are.
He's back, and he came to me.
And he came to me. But isn't that what most schizophrenics think?
I think so, yeah. I think that's what gets them in a little bit of trouble.
But have you noticed this? There's more schizophrenic people now than ever before.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to tell if there are more of them or if they've just dumped them all on the streets. But yeah, I'm certainly running into a lot more loose schizophrenics than I ever have.
Right? And maybe because they're beaming the voice of God onto everybody.
I don't know what it is. The last time I was in Chicago, I lived in Chicago for a number of years and this never happened to me. But then I went back for a work trip and I was almost karate kicked by a man who was having a very different version of reality than I was.
You're kidding.
He was just bicycle kicking out towards me. And I was just like, buddy, I don't want to be here. Don't do this to me.
Yeah. Wait, you were there that one day in Santa Monica where the guy told us Condoleezza Rice?
Yeah.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I wonder if they're just beaming the same thing to everybody. I'm like, did someone else tell you?
Everybody's getting the Condoleezza Rice.
Condi. Imagine.
No, you know, again, though, it's a bummer because, like, is it a mental illness? Did they MK Ultra somebody's brain and then send them back out into the world? Like, when I was in Minneapolis a month ago, some homeless dude was like straight up telling me that, first of all, I was not invited to the conversation. It just sort of happened to me. But the homeless guy told me that he was sex trafficked by the Bush administration.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, fair. Like, I don't know, you know?
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be. Which
Bush? You know, HW? Because he was former CIA.
Oh,
I could see that happening.
Yeah. The little one, younger
he seems
Bush.
harmless.
He really does.
Minus the entire war in Iraq, he seems pretty harmless.
I know, but I kind of feel like he was just a little bit of the fall guy, right?
Yeah, I do. I feel like they bamboozled
He's an
him.
incredible artist. I can't say it enough.
I know you're a huge fan of his painting.
I collect Georgia W. paintings.
You wish. He's probably just handing them all off to Michelle Obama. Apparently they're buds.
They are?
Yeah. Apparently they're all they're all buds.
They're all buds. That's
buds.
the joke, is that everybody's buds.
Yeah.
When you find out the Bushes and the Saudis are like BFFs just hanging out.
Yeah, it's like when you see The Rock and Stone Cold having dinner together. You're like, what?
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah, so back to it. Voice of God, face of Allah, whichever one you want to choose. All of it is part of... Do you remember when you heard about like where they were doing... was it like Israel crowd control, that they could beam a frequency that make people's skin burn?
No, I thought it was the one... I've heard the one where they can beam a frequency to make people angry.
So there's one called... It's an active denial system where it makes it... You feel like your skin is like... You have to peel it off.
Oh, like the people who jumped out of the buildings in 9/11.
What, Ange?
Yeah, they were like, people like were like taking their clothes off and jumping out of the buildings. I'm just telling you what you can see if you watch footage.
Don't say that. Why would they say that? If a terrorist flew a plane into a building that knocked it down to smithereens.
Look, I don't know enough about it, but I have heard some things.
You have.
And one of them is that they can use directed weapons to overheat you.
Yeah. I think the bottom line is this. I've noticed that a lot of people go to these Ivy League schools because they're smarties.
Yeah, you want
to flex on your smartness. Mm-hmm. You want to show people how smart you are.
So you go to the smarty schools.
Mm-hmm. And then in the smarty school, you get your summer internships. And you go work for the Department of Defense, and they probably pay you like $30,000. If anybody's wondering, I did 4 internships for television news, and I got paid $0.
CBS News wasn't paying?
Not at all.
That's a bummer.
Not a buck.
Legally, they can't do that anymore.
I know, but apparently, if you're working for Department of Defense,
they pay you big
time money.
Well, yeah, because they want you to choose them after school, right? They want you to come work for them.
So CIA has like a booth at like MIT, like at all the career conferences. They're like, come work for us.
What kind of bitch ass is like, I can't wait to go be a #1 snitch for the government?
I know.
Who's like, oh, that's gonna look so good on my resume, being the #1 bitch ass snitch for the government.
Bitch ass snitch.
Yeah. Who's lining up? If I know anybody in the CIA.
Yeah, the same person that probably gets a DARPA dog and then puts it in a dog fight, because they're doing that too. They're dog fighting DARPA dogs.
I mean, obviously, yes, that's the move. And then the DARPA dogs are going to turn on them, and then they're going to wake up in the night and the DARPA dog's on top of them.
That's so scary.
Roomba style. Yeah, dude, you can't go Michael Vicking the DARPA dogs and not expect consequences in the future.
I know, so that's what I'm wondering too. I'm like, is there like, at what point, I've heard of this about people who have like robots as girlfriends and stuff, because they're like coming up with that kind of stuff too. At what point do the robots have rights? I think that's what the transhumanism agenda is that robots have rights too.
No.
You can't just go harassing a DARPA dog. Can you kick a DARPA dog?
I don't think you should, because I think it'll affect the effectiveness of the DARPA dog. I think, if you've ever slammed an electronic, it never quite works the same again. But
you just blow into it and kind of shimmy it a little.
You just pet it back away. Here's the thing. I don't think you should do it, because it seems like a waste of money to kick the DARPA dog. But I also think that I don't believe that they have rights. No, I don't think that the machinery has rights. Here's why I'm going to say that.
Okay.
I don't like the idea of the machinery having rights, because I don't like the idea of putting them on par with humans, because at some point they're going to be on par with us, and then they're going to surpass us.
They are going to surpass us, right?
I've watched a lot of Terminators. I watched all the Terminators, even the later ones, even the Oops All Ladies Terminator that came out.
Oops All Ladies! Do you remember for a few years that they just made it? They're like, who has this joke?
They did the Oops All Ladies Ghostbusters.
Wait, they did it in another movie too. Ghostbusters, I think Karate Kid.
You name it.
That was later, but yeah.
Oops All Ladies Terminator was a ball. I liked it.
Was Linda Hamilton in it?
Yeah, I think she makes an appearance. She has to. Yeah. Okay. She makes an appearance. But the whole point is that the new Terminator is a girl. Arnold Schwarzenegger is there. He's been living a quiet life. With a wife.
Okay.
Who doesn't notice that he's part cyborg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's like people who are married to somebody who didn't know they were gay, Sometimes that happens.
It's basically the exact same thing.
Same thing. You're just like, you just turn a blind eye.
No.
You see some things that you don't want to see, and then you just go over it.
That's odd, but that's my partner and I love them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, you're like, he makes noises in the middle of the night. He has to plugs himself in. I don't know what that's about, but
he has one laser eye. But maybe he's just gay.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I've watched all the Terminators. I'm deep in the Terminator universe.
Yeah. What's weird? I didn't watch it when you guys were young, but you guys used to watch it on repeat. And I thought, not really a kid's movie. And you were about 6.
Definitely not a kid's movie.
Okay.
Super scary.
Yeah.
Definitely imprinted my brain.
Yeah.
Making references all the time to my husband, who still has refused to watch it.
Same. I don't like to program my brain with scary things. Literally, I thought about it today. A snake kind of shimmied past me this morning, and again yesterday, and I thought, I have no fear. And I don't mean that in a boastful way, but I really don't. The things that most people fear, I don't. Dystopian futures, not scared of it.
You haven't programmed your brain.
Not at all. Do you know what scares me sometimes? The thought of waking up with a zit when I have an event or something at the ripe age of 44. That still really gets me. Those are my fears, do you know?
Yeah.
But they're pretty vain and surface level.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be on edge and ready to protect us from Skynet when the future comes to get us.
Okay.
And for the record, they're going to take our podcast and they're going to use it against us. I don't know how else to tell you. This is not going to turn out well for us. Putting our face and our voices and hours of footage of our ideas.
Here's the thing is they don't know who's who. Maybe we're just one person holographed into another person.
Great. We just split screened ourselves. We're 2 Lindsay Lohans, if anybody's wondering. We're just 2 Lindsay Lohans.
Just kidding. It's the voice of God, and that's the face of Allah.
Dude, again, if somebody hit me with the voice of God, I would be so amped. I would just be like, yep.
Do you think they just assume the voice of God is masculine?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think Allah looks like? We're not even allowed to surmise.
I was going to say Osama bin Laden, but I guess we're not allowed to surmise.
We're not allowed to surmise.
Yeah,
by the way, I saw the funniest joke on Twitter. It said, do you think the CIA got the day off when Osama bin Laden died so they could mourn the loss of a coworker? Which I thought was brilliant.
Snitch ass, bitch ass CIA.
Snitch ass, bitch ass CIA.
Again,
wait, didn't you say you know somebody in the CIA?
No, I know somebody in the Secret Service. Very different.
Is that a junior level CIA?
No. Secret Service is it's just like bodyguards. They're chill bones.
Okay.
CIA, that's something else. They're trying to get you.
They're trying to catch you. What do you think the qualifications of CIA, now that we know Ivy League education?
Yeah, because think about it. Part of that Ivy League education.
Was it Kaczynski CIA?
Not
operative.
Formally. I was going to say depends, but not formally. He did die in jail, so if he was CIA, they really muffed him good.
Okay.
The story with Kaczynski was that they scrambled his brain when he was at college. He was super duper smart, and he went to college early, as a teenager, and then they got him good.
Interesting.
They hit him with the techniques that they ended up doing at Guantanamo Bay, all those years later with the terrorists at Guantanamo Bay. So they basically just broke his little brain down.
You
And
air
then-
quoted terrorists. Why did you do that?
Well, you know, some of those people were just wrong place, wrong time, I think. I mean, it just depends on how you feel about the official story on 9/11.
Yeah.
And as you know, I have some conflicting feelings about it.
Yeah. I was thinking about this CIA thing earlier, and I thought this Dr. Robert Duncan that came up with
Voice of God.
Voice of God. I thought, is that also just like a red herring, a mullet? What is it called? A stinky mullet? When they just throw out a fish and they make you think it's this way, but it's really this way. And I was like, maybe this guy is.
Or, yeah.
Why do they let CIA people just spill the beans after?
Yeah.
Without
Yeah,
like killing them.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if it's, controlled opposition type stuff.
Yeah.
Limited hangout. Where they're telling you a little bit so that
you think you got the goods.
the gist. So we're out here just being like, don't worry, guys. We know all about the DARPA dogs and the voice of Allah. And then they're just hitting us with something way worse.
Hide your kids. The DARPA dogs are coming.
They're scrambling us in way worse ways, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, more so is that they're beaming frequencies on people. Sometimes I feel like you can feel it. And you ever like go driving around and you go to the grocery store and everybody's ornery?
Totally.
What is that?
You know, some people like to say the moons and the tides, or it could be the beaming frequency.
Yeah, it could be all the 5G towers that they keep popping up all over the place.
Could be.
The birds fall out the sky.
Did you hear Daddy RFK says that he wants to address that?
Daddy's gonna address that too.
Daddy's coming. And he says he wants to address the 5G. We'll see. Here's the thing. If you say 5G, you automatically sound like a psychopath, right?
Okay.
It's for the people who've already been told that the 5G is totally safe and
How
fine.
about this? Non-native EMFs. Can we call them that?
Sure, we can call them that.
Okay.
But here's the thing. RFK has been talking about the fact that our limits in the United States they just are non-existent. They're like laughable compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That we're allowed to get beamed with so much more than anybody else's. And he says that the reason why that is, it's not because they don't care about us. It's
Because you need Wi-Fi in Yellowstone Park.
No.
Oh.
He says it's to protect big tech.
Oh.
So as people are going to start getting like brain cancers and things like that, it's going to be hard to tell was it the non-native EMFs that they were blasted with, or was it the device that they kept close to their head all the time?
Wow.
Or the Bluetooth earbuds, that kind of stuff. So Daddy's coming to town.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's
or the
starting to-
combination of that with the high levels of mercury in everybody's body that's
Sure.
just exploding out of them.
Sure. So we'll see, but he's talking fluoride. It's music to my ears. He's talking
Do you know? I
fluoride.
know. You know what's so funny though, Ange, is already like the big pharma is on a schmear attack.
Yeah, apparently all their stocks tanked the next day after they made the
But
announcement.
they're like now, I guess. Do you remember Minka and Joe from Morning
Yeah,
Joe? So I watched an interview with Joe and RFK back when RFK could talk normal.
I saw it.
You saw it?
Yeah.
And they were talking waxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Specifically, they were talking autism.
And at the time, they were like, listen, now he's like, nowadays, kids are getting like, I think they counted out, they're like 32 shots. I'm like, bruh, fast forward to the future. We had 72. Yeah. We had 72 now. But even Joe was saying it then. But now, I guess because they're part of like some other different agenda, which is just the pharmaceutical runs your entire world agenda, that they were like, that's not true. And can you believe he was saying these things and this and that? And you're like, roll the tapes. Somebody got the tape?
Oh, speaking of rolling tapes.
Roll the tapes.
Politico put out an article when Obama was appointed to be president. Obama was talking about who he was picking, and they were floating around RFK Jr.'s name as the head of the EPA. And it was like Star Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Wow.
Yeah.
They squashed him then too.
Back then they were saying like, oh yeah, they weren't going to let him be in the EPA.
Of course not.
They knew he had some questionable feelings about other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even back then, like it wasn't considered crazy. This was considered somebody who cares about the environment and like human health.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny to see how things just get, and then they kind of scrub the internet, and then they scrub people's brains too. It's like that Men in Black thing or whatever, where they just kind of like wipe it, and then it's like, yeah, of course. And then people just go like, yeah, GMOs are great. Glyphosate is awesome. I love pharmaceuticals.
It's hard because they're just
Put me on, I'm on 3. Get me on 3 more. I need 3 for the other 3. Do you know?
Yeah, the media is very good at getting ahead of the story and sort of pre-filling your brain with the
I think
idea.
they say flooding the narrative or something it's called.
Sure.
It's actually called flooding something. But
Sure. But I remember, like, this is a great example. So growing up, I remember hearing about Jenny McCarthy and like what a psychopath she was, right? And like she was kind of the wild girl from, what was the name of the show she was on?
Singled Out. Just thought of that today. It's so funny.
So she was kind of the wild
Good
girl.
old MTV days.
Yeah, on Singled Out. So like, you know, she kind of, Playboy bunny, big boobs, like just that kind of 90s, don't take her seriously, kind of whatever kind of gal. So when it started coming out that she was crazy, because she said that her son had been vaccine injured.
Yes.
And that she was an anti-vaxxer. And I was just like, yeah, probably crazy. And then moved on with my life.
Yes.
But like a year or two ago, I read the original interviews.
I know. She actually went on Larry King with Jim Carrey at the time too, because even Jim Carrey was like,
it wasn't, she never said one crazy thing. She literally was just like, I don't know if vaccines cause autism. She literally said that. She's like, I'm just telling you that this is what happened to my son. He got very sick and was never the same again after this round of vaccines. I would like to know what's going on. Maybe we could look into that. And everybody was like, crazy. And again, like literally everything she said was super duper measured. And the only thing that I think what truly tanked her was that she followed an unauthorized protocol that she found on the early days of the internet that another mother had shared on how to detox your kid after a severe reaction to a vaccine.
Interesting. What does the protocol consist of?
I'm not quite sure.
Is
but
it food or
I don't even think she was touting the protocol.
Interesting.
Because she was worried about like, because I don't know that it's the same for all kids, but yeah, typically from the other stuff that I've read throughout the years, it seems to be a lot of like extreme diet.
But you hear this more and more. I think I told you once, I used to Uber around a lot in LA. And one of my drivers, a lot of the drivers are actors who aren't working at the time. Or this guy specifically, one of my drivers was from Storage Wars. I didn't know that was a real show.
Nice.
But he was from that, and he told me that he watched his kid go from speaking in a doctor's appointment, getting the shot, and within minutes, not hours, not within minutes in the office, his kid just started shutting down and then became nonverbal. And that was
First of all, that's anecdotal.
I know. That's not real. That's not real.
No, but here's the thing, right? Like there's plenty of those, right? There's a lot of those stories. And you can hear them from your Uber driver. You can read them on the internet. You can hear them from the RFK's vice president elect. What was her name? Shannon?
Oh, Nicole Shanahan.
She's another one who literally says she watched it happen. So again, like you can say that it's crazy, it's not that, and maybe it is because it doesn't happen to all kids, right? So maybe there's other factors involved.
This is what I don't understand though about this. Is I saw some guy talking about it, and he's like, "This is crazy. If people start questioning the validity of these things, this is something we all agree upon as parents that we're going to do this to all of our children to keep all of our children safe." But just like the C-19 one, why did they tell you that you have to get it? I thought if you get it,
it
you're
should protect
safe.
You. Right. So
what's the point of it?
Right. Somebody else getting it shouldn't matter. Right.
Yeah.
Unless they don't work as well as they say they work.
That one.
Then maybe we got a problem here.
Small problem.
Yeah. I don't know. We always get on these. And we're back. But anyway, yeah. So it's been on my brain lately because I've been wanting to tell people more about it because I think that it's important that people know that just like regular humans are making these decisions, not like
crazy
particularly
people.
Wild. Although I don't know, there's a lot of footage. Maybe people think I'm crazy anyway. But I think it's just important to note that
they're probably waiting for your kid to get measles, mumps, and rubella.
They can't wait to see my son in a wheelchair with a blanket draped over his legs.
I don't know if
they're on the edge of their seat waiting for it. Well, anyway, the good news is he's not going to an Ivy League school.
Oh, for sure not. Why would you ever? No offense. Shout out to my very hot ex-boyfriend who went to MIT and gave us the royal treatment of a tour there.
It was a great tour. And also they're a feeder school for big surveillance.
That's right.
They're Big Brother.
Right. They came up with the face of Allah.
That's true. So let's see. They all end up working for big tech. Mm-hmm. They all feed into like Google and Apple.
Yeah.
They all work for defense. They all end up being like engineers for, Lockheed Martin and people making bombs.
Yeah. I remember getting into a fight with him about this. And I was just like, why would you want to do these internships? I'm like, don't you realize they're just like using your brain for this?
For bad.
But they love science, Ange. That's the thing. Science is like their everything. They love the advancement of technology.
I know. That's why you can't trust the Lex Friedmans of the world.
That's how I feel too. I'm like, who cares about the advancement of technology? Haven't we? This is enough, no? Your phone will tell you where to go. It'll, it's like
you can talk to anyone in the world immediately.
What more do we need?
I know. I often feel like that too. I'm like, we already have more technology than I was ever anticipating.
Let's stop it.
Yeah. We don't need it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
let's call it time.
I thought that's what they were doing. I thought we were kind of reversing back the clock. Isn't that what Trump is supposed to do? Isn't that
knock us back to the ice age?
What was the first,
take away all of our rights?
First narrative when they wanted Trump the second time, and they're like, he's gonna get all the Q people, he's gonna find all the sex traffickers.
No, it was funny. I was watching a video last night on Twitter.
They just let Ghislaine Maxwell slide on out, no problem.
He was talking about homeschooling. So Florida is like one of the better states in the country for homeschooling in terms of like the aspect of choice and things like that. And he was talking about basically taking what happens in Florida and making it like available nationally.
Wow.
And then he at the very end, he says something like honest. And then he called himself like Honest Donald or something. And then he goes, huh.
Like your son does?
Yeah. And I was just like, dog, don't laugh afterwards.
Honest Don.
If you're gonna be Honest Don, you have to be like Honest Don. Period. Hold. Cut. You can't be like Honest Don.
I feel like he cracks himself up. Did you see that video where he just spits out like fire one-liners, and he's got a team of people tweeting it for him?
Yeah, but also don't call yourself Honest Don if you also don't believe it. We're not expecting you to be Honest Don. We're just expecting you to be like, kind of trying your hardest, Don. Let's try that.
Yeah, I was thinking this. Honestly, sometimes I wake up and I think, I don't know if I have the energy to do whatever is on my agenda for today. He's rip-roaring.
Yeah.
How does he have the energy?
I don't know. I heard he was up for 72 hours before they announced that he had won.
Adderall.
For sure, Adderall, right? Adderall. For sure.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
He pops an Addy, he drinks a Diet Coke, and then he gets on with his life.
I could barely stay awake for the wedding on Saturday.
I know.
It took everything in my power. I was yawning, openly yawning. I was like, this is offensive to yawn
I know,
at somebody's nice event.
I did too, but I had to teach beach yoga at 8. It's hard to keep.
I'm a sleepy gal.
I know. Honest Don. Here we go, baby. 'Tis the season.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up.
We wrap it up. This was fun.
Yeah, we're supposed to say it at the top, but like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, thank you for liking the videos on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing on YouTube, and also give us a follow on Spotify. And if you think it's dope, 5-star it.
Yeah, that's all. Just 5 stars.
Just 5 stars, okay? We see you. One person that gave us 0, we see you. And if you're gonna hate listen, you gotta at least give us a 1. 0 means we didn't even try. We were here. We showed up.
We edit this ourselves.
Honest worlds collide.
Honest collide.
Collide.
Anyway, see you guys.
Oh, should we knock mics at the end?
Okay, cool. See ya.
Bye.